Well, I hope you guys are doing well and having a great day. I'm actually on here a little earlier than what I normally am, but I figure I'm a little late typically, and so it's nice to be on here for a change a little bit earlier. I hope you guys are having a great day and doing well and have been enjoying the beautiful weather. We finally got some rain yesterday, which we really needed, but the weather here has been beautiful, and I hope it's been good for y'all. We have a busy night ahead of us. There's a lot of little things that we need to be working on and doing. And so I'm hoping to get to our cards tonight, but we're going to do the cards last and we'll do our layout first. And so, but we've got a lot of die cutting to do before we can even dive in. And once we start diving in, it's going to go pretty quickly after that. So hello. All right, so let's pray and then we will begin. Dear Lord, I just thank you so much for today, and I thank you for those who are going to be able to hop on and join us. And I pray right now as they're working on this layout that everything come together well. Lord, for us to have fun, for everything to be clear, and just to be able to remember the memories and the times that we've had with our friends and families and those who we're going to use this layout for. We just thank you and praise you in Jesus' name, amen. All right. So let's go over what came in your kit. In your kit, you got a little packet that looked like this, and it had a little baggie that looked like that. And I'm going to have you go ahead out of your kit, and we're just going to take the envelopes out, and we're going to put those to the side. I've already done that. So, and then we're going to just kind of work with some of our papers that we have here. As you can see, there are a lot of little bitty cuts here, but I want to talk to you about them as we're doing them. That's why I didn't have you do this one up front. Okay. A lot of times I'll say, go ahead and have this pre-cut or this pre-done before I get started. I try to have as much of it pre-cut for you as possible before you even get started. Like all these little pieces, that's all cut for you. But I did want to make sure that we do all of these pieces together because really this is a different kind of set than what we've used in the past. And so I kind of wanted to walk you through a few of the little things that we're going to do. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is that you get a plate or a bin or something like that. I've got this one here, and this is where I put all of my leftover pieces from this workshop that I had done, and some other, and the Full of Life and Friends for Life workshop that I did. I put all of my little pieces in here, and there's a reason for it. You're going to have some leftovers, and these are going to be great for another layout or card, but it's going to be easy to grab from here as we're creating as well. So you want to be able to put all of your pieces in here as we go to create, or on a plate or something like that, so that you have them all kind of together. And because there are all these little bitty pieces, and believe it or not, we are going to use them, but it's not going to be near as hard as it looks like. Okay. The other thing is I showed in the supply list a punch, and I'm using this punch here, and you can use this one as well, or if you have any die cuts that are small flowers, I know in the past that we've had a few of those would work as well. So don't feel like you have to get this one, although this does make it nice, quick, and easy to be able to just pop things out. But that is what I've used, and so I wanted to just kind of showcase that to you as well. And then we're going to use the deckled rectangles, which I've told you before I absolutely love. We're going to use those for our cards. We're going to go ahead and cut those pieces out now, just because we're going to be using all of our die cuts. But again, we may not get to the cards tonight. We will see. And then the stamp set that we're using, or die cuts that we're using, come from the Friends for Life. And this was last month's workshop. And I absolutely love it. You can see I've used it a lot. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. And I love even like all of these pieces here. You're not seeing this heart and all of the little pieces from it. It's not really part of the stamp set, but that's one of the beauties of all of these stamp sets from of die cuts from Stampin' Up, is that there are a lot more dies than there are actual stamps, that it coordinates with. So you can use it more for papers, different things that you have, different things that you want to cut out. It doesn't just have to coordinate with your stamp set. So it kind of goes for you a little bit further. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and get my plate for my die cut stuff. I'm going to kind of clear this off, and we're going to go through this one by one. I've got me a little cheat sheet, so hopefully I've written everything down that we need. I think that I have, But we've got these pieces here. Now you're not going to need these two pieces, so you can put those to the side as well. Then you're going to take out 2 of your black cardstocks. You should have 3. 1, 2, okay, and 3. So we're going to put these 2 aside. The more that we can kind of take care of on the front end, the better, right? All right, and the first thing, let's just do like the super easy, fun first thing. Let's go ahead and take out our deckled rectangle. We're going to take out our largest one. But it would help if I would just take all these out. All right, and I've ordered some of my magnetic pieces for these, and I just have not gotten to it yet. So, all right. But I love, love, love this set. There's so much you can do with it, and I just really feel like it gives a really good look to everything that you do. All right, I am still using the Close to My Heart die cutting machine. Stampin' Up! Has a great die cutting machine as well. But my Stampin' Up! One works. I know many of you guys got this one as well, so this is a great little opportunity for you to use it. And with these die cuts in the normal white cardstock that's from, this is like either if you're using the Close to My Heart white, which is what I sent with you, you can cut 2 at one time. If you're using the thicker, and you can feel the difference too. If you just want to pick up one of these, you can kind of feel the difference of this cardstock. This is the 8.5 by 11 from Stampin' Up! And this is solid core cardstock, so it goes all the way through. Both colors are the same. It is going to be a little bit heavier weight, and so sometimes I do have a harder time cutting multiple from that, but I don't have any problem cutting from the Close to My Heart paper. So that's what this white is. It's the white daisy. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to have 2 sheets of that, and I'm going to take my and I could probably, yep, I'm doing this for a purpose. I'm trying to save us some time. Okay, as much as I can fit on here, I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold that down. I want to make sure that I've got it in a good area. I'm actually going to do it on 2 sides. Since it has 2 pieces there, I want to make sure that it doesn't move. But I do want to make sure, let me pick this up again. I do want to make sure that when I do it, that I don't just, let's see, I'm going to want to make sure that it's nice and even. And the reason for that is, that way, if it's nice and even on all edges, then the outside piece that we're going to kind of quote unquote throw away can be used for another card. And you can put an insert inside of there, and you'll have this decorative piece around as your insert. And I really like that idea. But again, I really want to make sure that that stays in place, that that doesn't move. Okay, and so I'm just kind of wrapping that around there again. All right, and then what we're going to do is you can go ahead and grab the peach pie. So that is this orange looking piece right here. All right, and that's going to fit right here. Again, I'm using the Close to My Heart one, so if you're using Close to My Heart, this works really, really well. I will tell you, washi tape or anything like that on this kind of cardstock almost tears the paper. So that's why I'm still using this roll here. Be really careful with it when you go to take it off. This has a really low tack, so I'm able to get it off a lot easier than I am washi tape, but still you kind of want to be careful with it. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our Full of Life, and we're going to grab our heart. Now, I have a small piece of washi tape, and this one might be getting a little old, so I might need to redo it. But what I do is I'm going to put this washi tape, and I'm going to center my heart inside of here, and so that it can't move, because these are 2 very different pieces. You can have your outside and your inside, but I am one of those who says, why waste if I'm going to have to cut it out, and I'm only going to get the little strip that goes inside this big piece right here. When this cuts, it cuts out just a small little strip inside in there, and so all that was in the center is going to be wasted. So instead of wasting it, why not get another piece at the same time that I can put in that little packet that I showed you right here, and save it for later and be able to use it for a card, and or for another place in the layout. So I highly recommend that you do that every time you do your hearts. Okay, then we need to do 1 paint swatch. So that's what this is. And by the way, you're going to have a lot more cardstock than you think you're going to need, but I'm always, hey, I'd rather you have too much than not enough, right? So you're going to put this down, and any place you want to do it. We are going to have to use our punch for our flowers. If you do have flower dies instead of your punch, go ahead and grab those. You're going to need to have 4 flowers, 2 for the layout, 2 for the cards, and as you can see, the flowers are multi-dimensional, so you'll want to have at least a couple, I would think, just to kind of give that pop. All right, so all I'm going to do is put this through on my die cut. This one's trying to move. All right, I'm going to be really careful as I do it, and I'm just going to put it off to the side and do it through my die machine. All right. Let's see how that worked. Take this off. I should have these 2 pieces here. Looks like that did not cut all the way through, so I'm going to put that one back down. And it may be, as you can see, my board is just a little warped. So if that has anything to do with, I'm sure that's why it didn't do it. So I'm just putting it back down so that it can get through, cut through again. But let's look at this one. And yours maybe went all the way through, and let's hope so. All right, so I'm going to take my plate or whatever you have, and I'm going to put this over the top of it. And the first thing you're going to notice is at the bottom, it does not come apart. See, if I took that off, notice how it is still stuck onto my cardstock. And they did that intentionally. I'm not 100% sure why, but that was intentional. Hey, Myra, glad you're on here. What we're going to do is we're just going to take our scissors and we're just going to clip that right there. And so this piece on the outside was actually meant to not come together, as it is meant to be completely separate. If you even look back at your die cut, it does not complete. I'm going to bring this up here. Sorry. It does not complete there or come together there. So that's why we're kind of doing it in that direction. But what we're going to do is we're just going to put this all over the top here. I'm just going to kind of poke all the pieces out with my fingernails. Okay, so I've got that. And right now I'm just going to set it to the side. I could put it back in here. I've got so many pieces. In fact, I may do that just so I know I have it all together in there. So I've got that going. We're going to put this back through in just a second. I want to do my white pieces again. Okay, and then, so I think that first time it may not have come through very well. So I'm going to move this up so you can see it a little bit better. I apologize for that. All right, so here we go. So we're going to put this through. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, the Summer Splash, which is going to be, you've got 2 greenish color pieces, okay? And your 2 greenish color pieces, your Summer Splash is more of the bluish green, okay? And then the other more green is going to be your Shy Shamrock. So bluish green, which is the Summer Splash, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take, this, I'll just put here at the top because that makes more sense if it just goes at the top rather than straight up and down, don't you think? And I'm going to put a little bit more of this on there because it didn't look like it was trying to hold on too well last time. All right, so we've got there. Now I'm going to take my heart again. Same thing. We're going to do the heart on every single one. All right. So again, what I'm doing is I'm just centering it inside, just like that. And then we're just going to hold that down there. And then I'm going to go back to my Full of Life. I'm going to get 2 of these large leaves. So I'm going to have to run this through twice, okay? Because again, remember, this cardstock is a little bit thicker, so I don't want to have to try and double it up. I don't think it's going to make it through. I'm going to do that one, and then I'm also going to do this smaller one. Hold on one second. Right there. I'm going to lay all these out before I start putting down my washi tape to hold it down so that you can see. So here's, I've got my paint swash, I've got my my heart, I've got the large leaves and the small leaves, okay? So let's go ahead and just get, I'm going to put these as close together as I can. Just like that. And I've got this one here, and we're going to run this one through again just because it did not do such a clean swipe the first time. And we're just going to put it through. All right. So here we go. Let's pull this one off. These are going to be for our cards. So we're going to hold on to these, and then you can toss this part out, or because we took the time to center it, as you can see in my little box over here, I put those here so I can use those as frame for cards. Or if I wanted to use them like as a frame for a photo frame mat, I could do that for a layout. So that's what that's about. All right, and then we're just going to go and we're going to do like we did before. I'm going to bring this back in. I'm going to pull this off. These pieces here will come out, but remember our heart won't. It's going to kind of get stuck in until I just clip it. All right, and I'm just going to pop all the pieces into here and pop them out with my finger. Okay, and if this little ring of the heart still does not pop out, just take your tweezers or something sharp. If you've got like your scissors, they're real pointed, you're just going to go through one of the holes and just pop that out. So see how I have this little ring, heart ring, and then I've got the center. So all of that's going to be in here, and you can pop those out with your finger or leave them, up to you. We don't need them right now, but we will later. And then here's one of our leaves. And sometimes it needs just a little bit, especially if you have a warped mat like I do. I probably need a new one. I go through mine quite a bit. There we go. There's just that little spot, the same little area. Okay. And then, of course, the paint swatch. So I'm just going to take that, same thing, pop this one out. So as you can see, even here on my desk, the little bit that I'm doing, I'm getting like little pieces over here. I'm getting them everywhere. There's lots of little pieces. And so that's why it's helpful if you have a little bin to put them in or something like that. Okay, I'm going to put these to the side just because they're so big. I don't need to put them in here, but I can have them. I've still got them. Here's my other little leaf that I need to do again. So I'm going to put that one there. All right, now we're going to go back to same thing. I've got two more card fronts or cards pieces that I need to use the deckled frame for. So again, I'm just putting these on. There's two pieces here because it's the thinner, and I'm going to hold this down with some tape. I'm going to do it in both corners again, like I said before, because I've got two pieces there, and I want to make sure that it stays centered, just like I put it, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is the same thing. I do not need another paint swipe, but what I do need is I need some more leaves. I don't need another heart, but I do need another large leaf here, and the small is good. I don't need another small. All right, so just like that. And I want to conserve my paper as much as I can, so let me just cut this off. I have this whole mat to use, but it takes more time to push it all through sometimes, so it just makes sense to cut it off and then use what I've got. All right, so here we go. We're just going to push this through, and again, just hold that one down. It's a big piece. It takes up a big part of the mat, so it's not wanting to just stick onto the little piece that it has. All right, so here we go. We're going to pick this up and run it through again. Hey, Dolores. It's good to have you on here tonight. Hope you're doing well. We're just going to put this on and have it go through our die cutting machine. I'm going to do all the punches of the flowers at the end, just so that I'm not having to go back and forth between the die cutting machine and the flower punch. But again, if you're using some flower die cuts, then feel free to do them at the same time. It will just save you some time from later from going back and forth. All right, so put those to the side. All right, let's pop this out just like that. and put all the little pieces in here. And again, I'm just gonna put this right in that box so that I have everything together I can grab from there. You do what works for you, but that seems to work for me, so I don't have any more little pieces all around here that I don't need. I will say that the pieces that are inside the leaves, like these, I'm not going to use. If you think you would want to use another time, feel free, but I'm going to go ahead and actually pop these out, and then I'm going to throw them away so that I don't get confused with these. And when I'm doing my heart, because I'm going to be pulling them out for my heart. Hey, Evelyn, welcome. I'm glad you're on here. Hope you're creating with us tonight. All right, so I'm just going to clean off that, throw those away. I've learned that if I have extra stuff on here, it just gets in my way and it confuses me. So let's just take a second and do that, and then I don't have to think about it later. Is that the right piece? And I got a few in there anyway, so I may be running into it, but let's hope not. All right, so then what we're gonna do is now we're gonna go to the Shy Shamrock. So here's our Shy Shamrock. Try saying that a few times fast. Same thing, I've got my hearts I'm gonna put together. You're probably thinking, okay, I've got this down. We done a couple, and you're more than welcome to go ahead of me until we get to, you kind of know what we're going to do. But when we get to the white and the black, it is a little bit different. All right, so here on the Shy Shamrock, we're going to pop out all the little pieces we don't need that are still there. We're going to do the large. We're going to have to do a few of these large leaves and some small leaves. In fact, I think I may still need some more out of the Summer Splash. I need to go back and look, but for some reason I'm thinking that I do. So we're going to have to look at that. All right. So one large leaf, we're going to end up doing 4 of these and 1 paint swap. And I'm going to put this one right to the corner. That way I can get everything I need to out of this one. So, and I'll use this to kind of hold it down, I hope. I hope that will work just like that. We're going to give it a try. And then again, just pick it up and we're going to put it through our machine. All right. I love to hear it when I can hear kind of like the crack, or what is it, crack, sizzle, pop, whatever, something like that, because that lets me know that it actually has popped the paper. It's broken the paper. This paper is so thick. It's a great paper for cards and for embellishments, that kind of thing, because it's just got so much weight to it that it really feels substantial. And I know that the cards that I've made and received using this paper, I really feel like it's a heavy-duty card. But when it comes to using it on the Cricut or anything like that, it can be a little bit difficult to manage. So, all right, so I'm popping that one through, popping these out. Just using all of these because I'm right here, why not, right? But I know as I go to pull this, it's going to pop some of them out too. But that's got that one clean. I'm going to have this one here. Okay, we're going to bring this one out, but throw away all the inserts. So I'm just going to pull it over the garbage can as I do it. Okay, and I think I'm gonna have to use some scissors on a couple of those pieces, but I'll do that in a little bit. So I'll put that in there. Then let's go ahead. We're gonna do another, let's see what it said. Shy Shamrock, 4 small leaves. So I need to do a couple of these. So I'm gonna move that up, put this in here. Then what I'm gonna do, again, just for the sake of time, is we're going to take another color, because we've got to do this a few times, but there's no sense in just putting that one through when we need to do some more too, right? So then we're going to do our Petunia Pop. We're going to put our heart in there. We're gonna move this around. Just like that. With the Petunia Pop, I need 1 paint swap. Actually, I need 2 paint swipes. So we're going to do this one a couple times as well. So we've got the Shy Shamrock Flower, the Petunia Pop Heart, and then the swipe. Okay. Pop that out. Set this up again. Pop this out. Sorry, I know this part is so boring, but again, doing it in real time just kind of gives you a good idea of what it's going to take as you go to do it. And then hopefully you can kind of see and learn some things as we go along. All right, so I'm just going to pop that part out as well. Now you may be thinking that seems ridiculous. I promise though, like to keep all these little pieces, but I promise, you know, eventually you will end up throwing some away, no doubt, but there's some really cool things that you can do with those. And so I want to show you how they are, what you can do with them, and then do it all you want while you've got the pieces, and then when you decide you're done doing it, you don't want to do any more, then throw them away. But I'd rather have it while I can than not. The other thing I'm going to show you is, if I turn this over, you can see there's some of these little pieces in here. You still want those. So make sure you pop those out, again, with something real sharp, with scissors, tweezers, whatever. But we do still want those little pieces for the inside too. I quite often forget about the little pieces. I'm just thinking about the big ones, but we do want those. All right, so we've got that on there. Again, we want another paint swipe. Let's go. This. We're going to go from this one, and then we need one more. So we're just going to line that up there again. And that will be our last one for the Shy Shamrock. We're all done with Petunia Pop. Pop that one out. So then you're going to get the Pretty in Pink. So we're going to grab that. That's our next sheet. Let me put this aside. All right. Move this one up just a little bit. I'm going to probably need that. All right, and then we're going to put this down again, same thing. You know the drill. Now we're doing another heart. Again, just make sure that the center is nice and lined up in there. And we want 1 paint swipe, which is right here. And that's it. All right. And then we've got these 2 pieces. Popping that out. Again, we've just got, you could tear this, but I'm always afraid if I tear it, I'm going to, you know, to like just tear it off, that if I tear it, it's going to tear in the wrong direction and I'm going to ruin something. So I would rather just take a second and get my tweezers or my scissors and give it a good cut. So you do you. That's how I'm going to do it. And then some, again, this little round or piece in there sometimes sticks. So I just have to take my tweezers to that to make sure I can get that little piece out. All right, there you go. All right. All right, so put these aside. I don't need these right now, but now we're gonna go ahead and we need our white piece. All right, so with our white piece, what we're gonna do is a couple different things. The first thing we're gonna do is I'm going to just lay on where I want my heart to be. That's my very first thing, okay? I'm not gonna put it through yet, but I am gonna lay on where I want my heart because I know that I need one heart. Just like that, okay? Now I need to cut out, using again this set, I need to cut out the friends pieces. And I'm gonna do 2 of the small ones and 1 with the large. Now, the large isn't as important because it is pretty large and I have some area that I can get my adhesive without making a big mess. But the small one, it ends up being really, really tiny. And so what I've found is easiest for me when I have something like the small friend is to use the adhesive sheets. And so I had sent you guys some adhesive sheets. And what I would recommend is just cut up the section that you think you're going to need. Now, this is just a small one that came in what I have. And as you can see, or that I had cut up, I can get it all to fit within there. So you may have to kind of turn it a little bit, but you can see that it's all going to fit in there. You have it like you want, and then you're just going to, you know, make do or whatever. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to cut off a piece like this. I'm going to cut it right here. I've got that attached, so I know exactly where that's going to be, right? All right, now I'm going to turn it over. I know that my heart is on this side. Oh, hold on. It looks like my feed online is locked up, and I'm not sure why. So hopefully you guys are not locked up. Don't think that you are, but we'll give it a try. And then I'm going to take the adhesive strip right here. Nope, it looks like we're good. Apologize for that. All right, then I'm going to take this adhesive strip and I'm going to peel off one part, one side, and you're going to see obviously the non-sticky side, that's going to be the scrap. The sticky side we're going to attach, and I'm just going to attach it right here to this corner. So that way I know exactly where it is, okay? And you can see I've got it there. Now I'm going to flip it back over and kind of use my fingers as a guide to see that I've got it where I need it. I can feel it on one side to kind of, whoop, that came off, but that's okay because I know exactly where to put it. The big thing right now is this piece. I want to make sure I've got that exactly where I want it. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere it down. Or use the tape to hold it down, sorry. All right, so let me put my heart back on there. So that is my small friend. I knew I was gonna need my small friend. I want my small friend more with the adhesive sheet than I do. If I'm trying to be cautious with how much I use up the adhesive sheet, I'm only gonna use it for the small. If I've got a lot of extra and I don't care, then yes, go ahead and use it for your big. Totally up to you. Stampin' Up carries these, Close to My Heart carried them, so you may have some in your stash already, which is absolutely, you know, use what you have. I love it, and there's definitely a use for it, which is the whole reason why we're seeing that both companies had it, right? All right, and again, I'm just holding that down, but I'm just using it for this little one. All right, now, again, we're just gonna go ahead and put it through. Okay. Put this back so I don't lose it. I don't need that anymore. take these off. Again, we're just going to cut that. Put the pieces in my bin. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I'm just punching out the little pieces off to the side. All right, so we've got that. Now we're gonna pull off our large friend. That works well. I'm gonna put that in my tray. And then here we go with the small friend. Now with the small friend, it's gonna come out the same way, but it's gonna have, on one side, it's gonna be, the paper is gonna adhere to it, and then I'm gonna be able to peel off this backing, and I'm going to be able to put it on the layout. Now, the only thing to think about is right there, that hole for the eye for the friend, that is easily going to get lost. So what I would suggest is, because you are going to want that, mine is still stuck in my die. I'm going to put it off to the side where I know that it's going to be until I can go to use it. All right. And see, the backing is already trying to come off, so just try and keep it there. I promise it's worth it in the end as you go to do it, but you do want it to try and stay on as much as you can so that you can use it when you go to do your sheet, card, layout, whatever it is that you're creating. And I'm just, see, it's trying, oh, see, it's trying to come off with it, with that backing. So just be really careful as you go to pop it out. It is worth it in the end, but it takes a little bit longer sometimes if it doesn't cut all the way through. And again, I really think the reason I'm struggling with it so much is just because I'm using a slightly warped board. I'm cutting this off with my scissors, and I'm leaving extra there just so that it doesn't stick. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to put this in my bin, but I'm going to put it upside down. And then what I'm going to, so that it doesn't stick to anything. Then what I'm going to do is clean this stuff up so it doesn't get confused with what I'm trying to do, right? I'm going to take the dot. This dot is really, as you can see, it's very, very thin, right? It's very small right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it out and put it over here. If I lose it, I lose it, but I'm going to do everything I can not to. That's probably going to be the hardest thing of this whole workshop, is not losing that dot. Okay. All right. So now I need one more of those small pieces. So same thing. I'm going to take my friend paper. I'm just going to, I probably even could have just laid it all right down right there, but I do want to have some, if at all possible, for my black. And I gave you more than I have right here, but let me see. I don't know. I'm a frugal girl. If I see that it can still be used for something, I'm going to use it. Let's see. Well, it's kind of stuck on here for a second, so we'll get this off in just a second. I've seen some people have said you could take like your rub and erase remover, and sometimes that will peel it back. There we go. I usually don't have any issues getting it off, but you know, there is sometimes. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter what side because I'm doing, it's all white. It's the same color on both sides. So I'm just doing it like this. I'm going to make sure that I've got it completely on top of where it's going to be. I'm holding that down, putting that there, and then going to attach it to my sheet. Now I could put another piece here, but I'm just going to focus on this one instead of, you know, with all the others like we've done. So bring this back. All right. And I'm just popping that out. And actually, I just did that with a large friend, didn't I? Whoops. So now you get to see how you do it with a large friend. So that's all right. I did it with a large, and I needed a large, and this one now has the backing, so oh well. But I really did need a small. Somebody should have hollered at me. Just kidding. All right, so I am going to get some more of the adhesive strip. I'm going to use that. All right, here we go. And luckily I have lots of white cardstock, so this is not an issue either. All right, that to the side. Put that there. Now, hopefully I'll do the right friend. So here's my friend. I need the small, thinner one. Make sure I put it where I know it needs to go. I'm using my fingers as a guide behind it just to make sure. And if it's not all attached, that's okay. I can always add a little bit of adhesive later, but it's so much easier to do it this way than it is trying to put adhesive on something that's so thin, right? All right, now let's do this one. So now I noticed right before I did anything else, I've noticed that the backing of my eye has popped off, which is very unfortunate actually. See that that eye? There is the backing of it, which means the sticky is probably already on it. So what we're gonna do, we're going to do something a little silly, but you know what? If it works, right? So I'm trying to pull this off without pulling off just the backing, so I don't have a sticky friend. I'm not ready for it to be sticky yet. All right, so I'm just going to poke in the holes, see if I can't pop out the whole thing, not just the backing. There we go. All right, so there you go. Now my eye is still there, so, but it does look like maybe the sticky part is here. Nope, I don't think so. All right, we're gonna find out in a second. So now grab your black cardstock. We're gonna do, guess what? One heart. Just like that. Okay, we're gonna do 2 large friends and 1 small friend. And to start out, because that dot is still in there for the small, I'm not gonna use that one yet. I'm just gonna right now do the large friend and my heart. And I'm gonna try and make sure that's nice and even centered so it doesn't move. Okay, let's give her a go. Now, I can't think of a reason that I would want the black centers. There's probably is one, but I can't think of one. So I'm going to throw those pieces away just because I don't need any extra right now in my bin to confuse the matter, right? And then I'm going to take the rest and I'm just going to pop it out into my other bin. So my other bin or your plate or whatever you have should be getting pretty full. And like I said, we're not going to use it all, but it's good to have it there in case we need it. We have something to go back to. So let me show you my bin. Does that look like yours? Okay, I'm just popping that in there. I'm gonna pop out friend. Here's my big friend. Now, since my eye is in here, I'm gonna see if I can show you what I'm gonna do. I'll leave this. I'm gonna put this on here. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. I'm gonna try and center it in here where I think it would go. And then I'm gonna just take my little piece here and I'm sticking it through to kind of press it down onto the black. Let's see if that sticks. That would be one less center I would have to keep up with, right? I'm holding it down. Yay! There you go. Okay, so already got one little eye, so I don't have to worry about that. So now let's go back to our black. The black we're going to go back to, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do another large friend. And then I'm going to do the small friend, but because it's the small friend, I am going to take some of my adhesive strip and do it again with the small friend. Think that'll work? Yep. Again, you do not have to use adhesive strips, okay? This could still be easily done with the, you know, liquid adhesive or tape adhesive, that kind of thing. I would use the Close to My Heart adhesive that has the little dots on it. I would use that just because I think that that isn't going to leave, like the tape adhesive a lot of times. We talked about that in one of our last classes, that it can, let me turn this over, put this right here. Oh, where it went is where it's going. It's not moving. So I may not get it all on there. It may not get complete coverage. That's, like I said, one thing about this cardstock from Stampin' Up, it is not forgiving at all. It is really, really good, but it's so fibrous that, this is just another little scrap I thought I would put on the top, just in case. But it's so fibrous, it is going to tear before it does anything else, okay? So, I'm gonna turn this over. I'm gonna put this right here, so that I can have that where I want it, and this right here where I want it. Get this as close to that as I can. All right. I think this is going to be our last die cut. Let's hope that I got it right, that we did what we needed to. All right, so here's my large friend again, because I needed 2 of those. And here is my one small friend that I didn't get to do the first time because it still had the dot of the eye in it. Let's see how it does this time. You can see the backing is still trying to come off again. And if it does, that's okay, because we've got the white one done now, right? Okay. Take that off. Now, if it does start to come off, in fact, I might just go ahead and take it off, because again, we saw how easy that was. And it's one less dot I have to worry about for the eye. I'm just going to go ahead and pop out, oh, if I can get all, like my fingers not to stick to everything. I'm going to try and put it back in there as best as I can. There we go. Just like this. Kind of making sure, trying to make sure it's actually, this time I'm trying to make sure it stays in there instead of comes out. I'm gonna see if I can't pop out these little center sections I don't need. This is real life, guys. So if you're not having trouble with this right now, there may be a time that you are, and you're getting to see what to do. All right, that's how I see it anyway. All right, I'm going to pop out that center section. All right, so again, I'm just going to kind of press it all, if I can get my fingers out. My fingers are stuck to it. It's just the way it is. I know my fingers All right, so since my fingers are already stuck to it, instead of trying to pop it back in there, I'm just going to get it unstuck from my fingers and go ahead and put it on the white, okay? So I'm just going to start with my F, and I'm gonna try and line it up as best as I can. If you're really good with tweezers and you're able to pull it off without it sticking to your fingers like the other ones, then you could use, you know, your tweezers and go from there. But I'm just gonna kind of walk each letter down because it can easily, since it's so thin, it can easily kind of get off kilter. And so I'm just doing one at a time, okay? And again, this is the beauty of having that adhesive strip, is you have, once you put it down, it's not gonna move. You don't have to worry about it setting there to dry, any of that. You got it just like you need it to be, right? All right. Now I'm gonna take the center like we had before with the other, and I'm just going to lay this on top and push down to get that eye out. There we go. All right, so that's what we were looking for with the white, except for this part here. There we go. I popped out that center, and we do keep that inside. All right, so before I lose that interior eye that I put up over here, I'm going to get that because I'm sure you were expecting me to lose it because that's what I do. I am going to get it with my pickup tool, and I'm going to go ahead and put it down. I'm going to see if it's going to stick, or if it's, nope, it doesn't have the adhesive off of it. So let me see if I can get the adhesive strip off. You're getting to see all the things today, right? Sorry, it's not on camera, but I've got to get my eyes on there. There we go. All right. And then I'm just going to try and turn it before I press it down so I have it in the direction I want. There you go. Yay, we did not lose the center of any of our eyes. That's the hardest part of this whole thing. Congratulations, you just did it. You can breathe. Have a good night. You're like, yes, done. Okay. The rest of it's going to come together fairly quickly. I know that took a while trying to do all of those little die cuts, but with the eyes and the hearts and all of that, I kind of wanted just to talk you through that part before, because we've not done something like that. And then you would kind of know how to go from there. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to clean up my mess a bit. And then we are going to grab our punch. If you have the punch, if you have dies, you may have already done it. Totally up to you. But what we need, I'm going to go back to my my colored cardstocks that I have here. Okay, so let's start with our peach pie. Let's go in the order that we were first. Peach pie, we need 4 flowers. So this is really cool. It goes a lot faster than the die cuts. I don't have to do a lot of cranking. I can put it in here. I don't need the leaf, so I can even stop it before it gets to the leaf. But if it gets to the leaf, here it is. But if it gets to the leaf, then, oh well, I've got a leaf that's that color, and I can use that for a lot of projects too. So totally up to you how you want to do that. But literally, you're just going to put it in, and I usually pop it up so I can see it, but it didn't need to go flying towards you guys. And so I'm just going to do it again. The worst thing about these is just the noise. I don't like the noise. 2. So we need to do this 4 times. All right. So I'm going to put these off to the side for a second. Again, putting it in here. This is a great way to use up scraps. Great way to use up scraps. Okay, there you go. So we did 4 of those. Put those all here. Then we're going to get our summer splash. Again, remember that's our greenish blue, this pretty color one here. On this one, we need, I'm looking real quick, sorry, 2 sets of this actual petal. So for this one, what I'm going to do is, I don't care if I get the flowers, although I don't care that I don't. It gives me something else that I can have. But even if you just had like a little piece that you could put in through the back corner, you could do that and just get the petal. Up to you. Totally up to you how you want to do that. So I'm gonna do, like I could do it, well, this piece is actually too big for that. Let's see if this one is. Okay, see how this was the piece that I cut off originally? I don't need to worry about whether or not I'm getting any of my, those flowers. I'm just getting this piece here. That's all I care about, right? Now, it is gonna give me a lot of little scraps of junk that I don't need and can get confusing. So just pull that aside and make sure that you get rid of that so it doesn't confuse you later as you go to create and doesn't make a mess on your desk. But again, for these little scraps, it's perfect. This is just a little scrap, and what it's not going to waste. I'm getting my leaf out of it. And so I said that I needed two sets. And to me, a set obviously is going to be 2, right? So I want to have 4 of those leaves total. So there's 1, 2. Off camera, you can't see, but I'm cleaning up my mess, and I'm bringing in some more cardstock. And I am going to get a couple flowers on that one. That's okay. Same thing here. I'm going to cut it down just because I am getting into that area, and it ends up giving me lots of little pieces. All right, and then again, just putting this through. There we go. So there's 4. And you can do more, you can do however many you want. For right now, I'm just gonna do 4. I think that's all I need, although I am starting to question myself. So I'm gonna look at what I've got. I think we're just gonna do 4 for now. All right. So that's there. Now we're gonna go to our Shy Shamrock, which is our total grain, right? Let me put these out of the way with other things. Okay. The Shy Shamrock, whew, like I told you, still struggling with that one. All right, we need no flowers on that one. We're good. All right, for the petal, the Petunia Pop, we need this one. We need to have 2 sets of flowers. So we're just putting this in. Gonna do 2 sets of flowers. Go over there, just like that. Yep, I'm popping them up at you. Sorry, but you know what? Sorry, not sorry. Ha ha ha. All right, break that off. Now we're gonna do this. There we go. So that's 2 sets of flowers. I'm gonna put those over here so I can have that. Now I wanna do, I've got my Pretty in Pink. I wanna do 2 of these. Okay, here's a question. What will you guys do with those leftover scraps? Will you use them or will you toss them? Inquiring minds want to know how much you keep and how much you get rid of. All right, so there we go. So we've got those. So now what we're gonna do before we do anything else is, so we don't lose all these pieces and they need some time to dry, we are going to go ahead and glue them together, all right? So get whatever glue that you like to do that. I'm gonna do that and get a drink real quick. All right, so for me tonight, what I'm gonna do is I am going to use a liquid adhesive because I think that's gonna be the easiest thing to do for this section, okay? And I'm just gonna put a drop of liquid glue here, just in the center, very small. Then I'm gonna take the pickup tool. I love this thing because it just easily picks it up. It's kind of got this like little putty there that's sticky, and so it helps me pick things up. I'm gonna lay it and I'm gonna turn it so that the leaves are kind of cockeyed basically from each other. And then I'm gonna do another one. And I want these to have just a little bit of time to dry so that after they've dried, we can go ahead and kind of make them look a little bit more decorative. But to me, if I try and do that now and then add it, it just takes more time when I can do it all together at once. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing for each of these. So go ahead and start putting all of your flowers together. starting, you know, have your big flower on the bottom, middle, and then there you go. And then again, just put these to the side. We just want them to have time to dry while we're working on our other parts. Does not need a whole lot because it is a liquid, so it's going to kind of spread as you put it down, and then it's going to be hard and fast as it dries. Oops. So this is a little different from the way that we typically do our workshops, but that one was extra. For the thank you workshops, usually I try and have everything pre-cut, and so if it's been a month or so since you've gotten one of mine, I did explain in one of the last, I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on all four. All right, there we go. I did explain on the last one, since we're kind of changing up how we're, and I'm not allowed to do a lot of the pre-cutting for you as far as with the die cuts. I'm going to still pre-cut as much as I can, but this also gives us a chance to kind of learn and do some of the stuff together, right? So, and I'll try, and whatever I use in the monthly workshop is what I am trying to use for our thank you workshop too, so you can see multiple ways to use it. Now this month's workshop, the Full of Life workshop, that one didn't get turned like I wanted it to, let me see, is using the same colors a lot. Well, I take that back, it really isn't using the same colors. It's using very bold colors, let me put it that way. It's a very bold workshop, just like this one is. But from everything I'm hearing and looking, that is kind of the trend that's going to be now and for a little while actually. All right, so we've got all of these, and I'm just going to set these up here to dry. All right, and then I'm going to put this stuff away here. And let me put my lid. Let me find my lid. What do you guys think of the liquid adhesive? Do you like it? I'm always interested to know. The Stampin' Up! Liquid adhesive is a little bit more watery, but it comes out a little bit faster, so I have to be careful. But it is a good stick. I really still like the Barely Art, but I do like this one, and I like that it's got such a fine little nozzle to it, so that works really, really well. All right, so we've got these pieces, we've got all of this together, we're letting this sit and dry. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start working on our base pages. So we've got our little pieces here, and what you need to do is, part of your instructions was to grab 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock, any color you wanted. I kind of recommended more like a mink, linen, like a light charcoal, something like that you could use to help. The linens is really, really nice. I'm trying to think, pebble, gray granite is a good one that Stampin' Up! Has. So any of those is going to work. Just look in your stash, see what you have. I think for this one, it's important to have kind of like a soft gray and a lighter gray, just because you have so many bright colors here. You want something that's going to help really tone, I hate to say tone it down, but it's kind of is doing this, kind of holding the tones down. All right, so I'm going to use linen. It's a little bit lighter than the mink that I used here, but you're going to see kind of the difference of it, and you know how good it is for that. Again, the Smoky Slate from Stampin' Up! Is a great mix as well. All right, so we're going to take our layout here. Now, I want to show you something. On my original that I did some splattering. And if you like splattering, we've done splattering enough that you could easily add some splattering here. If you have any of the Wink of Stella, you could do that with your inks as well. Mix the two together. And then you give it kind of a little bit of a shimmer. I did not do any shimmer on this page. It's more of a flat, not quite real shimmery page. So I didn't use any of the Wink of Stella there. Or our shimmer brushes from Close to My Heart, so you could use that as well, but that is totally up to you. I felt like these areas needed something, okay? So I used black to bring in more of the black that I have here, And then I did use some of the pink colors, and you can use whatever pink you want. You can use the Petunia Pop or the Pretty in Pink. Totally up to you if you want to do that too, but I felt again like it needed a little bit of color. So I'm going to show you how I did that. And honestly, there's two ways you can do it. You can do it at the beginning, kind of having an idea of where you're going to be, or you can do it at the end and just make sure that you mask or cover up all of your paper like around the side of it, and so it only goes in the one direction. Again, totally up to you. I am going to do it now, so I am nervous about these. Did that not stick? That one did not stick, so let me do that real quick. It's a good thing I found that out now, right? Okay. I've not had any issues with that, so that one kind of surprises me. But again, it's good to do it together and see how to correct it. Okay, so I'm putting these off to the side because I really don't want to get ink all over them, right? As I do my splatters, and I know me and splattering, and it's bound to happen. Let's just be real. It's bound to happen. All right. So the easiest way for me, everybody has their own little way of doing splatters, but the easiest way for me is to take a block and my ink pad and a paintbrush. You could use a water brush. You could use, really anything that you want, anything that you have access to, absolutely fine. But I tend to like just a ink pad, my block, a little bit of water, and a regular paintbrush. Okay, so I'm just going to take my block. I'm going to just dab it in the stamp pad. I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm going to do it off to the side so you can't see it, but I just sprayed it. One little spray right there on there. And then I'm just going to kind of flick it. And that helps me have a little bit more control about where I want it to go. Notice how it didn't go all over the page. It didn't go all off to the side, but it is a good help for me. And I'm going to do it here on this corner at the bottom as well. And if you need some more, hey, Mary Lee, welcome. If you need some more, again, just dab it in your ink. Spray it with a little bit of water. Sometimes I'll just mix it together there and then just kind of plop it off. It's going to be more like smaller splatters here than it is going to be like the really big drops. So depending upon what you want, I just really wanted some small splatters, okay? So now I'm going to put that off to the side for a second. I'm going to grab my next piece, and this time I want to do the same thing but on the opposite side. Down here. I don't know if you can see me at the bottom, but I'm putting it in that bottom corner as well. All right. Now I'm just going to take my chamois, wipe off my block, try and clean off my paintbrush a little bit. As best as I can right now. And then again, I'm going to do the Petunia Pop this time. So same thing, I'm grabbing just that ink color. This is the one of the 2004-2005 ink colors. And like I said, these bright colors, they're very in right now. So I tend to go a little bit more for the muted colors, but I'm finding that this is the route everybody is taking right now. So I'm learning to embrace. All right, same thing, just doing it over the top. Depending on how much you want. I'm going to put that aside, grab my first. I'm keeping this very minimal, but it's going to help at least not have so much white space. And I would always say you could add some black lines around it, kind of do your outlines. Now, if you notice on that last one, I'm going to go back and do this because on that last one I added more water, and so I've got bigger splotches with it, right? Which is nice, but now I want it to be uniform. I want to have those bigger splotches on each piece. So I went ahead and just brought in my first one and then did the same thing. Just added a little bit more water to it. So less water, obviously smaller splatters, more water, larger splatters. So that's just kind of the rule of thumb to think, okay? So that won't take long at all because it's very light. It's not gonna take long at all to dry. So we're gonna go ahead and bring in our piece here, and we're gonna bring in our little packet of papers. Now for the packet of papers, what I'm going to have you do, I did not give you photo placeholders just because they're so hard to come by at this point, right? So what is going to be easiest for you to do is if you have any 3x3 pieces of cardstock or placeholders, take those, and we're going to use those to kind of help line up our page, okay? And also remember, same thing with 4x6, that kind of thing, but also remember that you can always fill in those areas based off of what you have, with like your size of your photos, that kind of thing. All right. Hello, Miss Joetta. All right, so what we're going to do is this piece is actually important. We're going to talk about that piece and this white piece here in a minute, but I'm going to put those to the side for the second. Now, all of these pieces are out of the 2004 to 2006 colors, DSP colors. And so you can see they all have the same pattern, but they also have a different pattern on the back side. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that as we're using the same colors, that we use a different pattern, and that we use a different pattern from the different colors next to each other. So we're just trying to change it up. Hey, you're good. No problem. Glad you're here, Joetta. You're never late. Just on time. All right, so what we're doing is as we lay this down, I'm going to do one here and one here just to kind of lay it down and give myself some idea of what I want to do, okay? And what's nice about this layout is nothing really goes from one edge to the other, so you have a little bit of wiggle room about what you're doing, all right? But we're just kind of laying these two pieces out. I want to make sure that all of my colors are separate. I don't want any of the same colors really on here. I want to really be able to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to try and put this one here. I'm not, as you can see, no adhesive, no nothing right now. I'm just laying this out. All right. Then I'm going to take, there we go. And obviously that's not going to be enough room for what I need. All right. So now for our black and our white, because Stampin' Up! Only makes black in bulk like that, you can get it in the 8.5 by 11 and not the 12. And in order for me to mail it to you and get it the way we need to, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to put these pieces together, and we're going to make it look like it's one long strip, even though it's not. So if you remember earlier, I had you put aside your long black and your long white. Well, this is what it's going to look like. We're going to have it so that it looks like it all goes together. The only difference is you can have it kind of move up, like you're not trying to get it necessarily centered in that piece. You're trying to get it where the top and the two sides are the same width, and that's going to bring it all the way down to the bottom here. And the small piece is going to bring it all the way down to the top. And you don't have to worry so much about this, like where they meet, because that's where we're going to put our element, okay? So we've got this. So I'm going to, just so I have as few pieces to work with, the better. I'm going to go ahead and I want to glue this down, but we have a little bit of stamping to do. And so I don't want to do this. I don't want to glue it down until I have my stamping done, in case I make a mistake and then we need to flip it over, right? So I always try and think about what I'm going to do with it. And again, you know me, I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've got this kind of laid down, I can see that this is where, when I come over here, that's about where I want my hearts to go. So I'm just going to put like a little dot there, just something barely, like I can see it. I don't even think you guys are going to be able to see it. And once I stamp on it, I know I'm not going to be able to see it, but I know that I want my heart to go up there and then down, and then right underneath that, I'm going to have what I want to say. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. Now we're using the stamps from, Here we go. From the Friends for Life set, or you can use any, you know, any set that you want. Or if you're wanting to say something different, feel free. But that is, again, what I'm using here. So that's what we've been using all night with our die cuts and all of that, the Friends for Life. This has a lot of cute things that work well for a layout or a card. And so obviously we're going to do both, and you can see how it's going to work. But what's nice is I really like these hearts, and these hearts are together. So it's one stamp. So I've got my block. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to pull off. I like to keep that protective sheet on. You don't have to. It's totally up to you. But I pulled that out, and we're going to stamp that in black. Okay. Now, these polymer stamps from Stampin' Up!, they're a little bit different than maybe the Close to My Heart stamps we've used in the past, as far as they don't have as much, they're a little bit sturdier. So you don't have to have anything underneath it. If you don't want anything underneath there, it will make a good solid image without having to have that cushion like we used to have in the past, okay? The only thing I would say is if you have a really solid image, like a big square or house or something like that, it would still be good to put something underneath it to kind of protect it, okay? Or to kind of give it some give so that it can adhere better, the coloring, that is. All right, so we've got our hearts. I'm gonna put these back before I lose them. Then we're gonna get Love You. And we're gonna do each one of these separately instead of all at once. A lot of times I like to do it all at once, but we wanna use different colors, okay? So I've got Love You. And I'm gonna do that right there in the center. And I'm gonna do that with Petunia Pop. Now this would be a really fun layout to change up for like a birthday party or something else. If you wanted to do that, you could use some really good scraps, and it would come together really well because they're smaller pieces. But I loved how we were able to use all of this together, and it goes really, you know, it really comes together well, in my opinion, using the bright colors and the stamp set and what we're able to say and really celebrate our friends. All right. So then the next one we're going to get is Thank You. I'm going to put this up before I put my hand in it. And we're doing that in Pretty in Pink. Now the one thing I'm still trying to get used to is the fact that these are the foam, and so you really barely need to touch it, and it picks up a lot of ink. They're very, very juicy. Okay, so this is going to go directly below Love You. You're just going to try and center it, just like that. And then lastly, we're going to use Peach Pie. And we're going to say, For Being a... Again, just very gently as you go to put it in there, and then try and center it right below. There you go. That's all we needed to do. So that's very light and very minimalist for what we needed as far as that, but we've got it done. And the rest of it should go together pretty quickly. All right, so let me put that away. Again, we know that if I have it out, it's going to make a mess. So I like to have pieces, and I would recommend this for you as well, that are standard. Like you can take some old cardstock, any of that, and use that as a guide if you don't have the photo placeholders. Because again, they are hard to come by right now if you're not getting, in fact, I only have one of the 3x3s. So they're a little hard to come by right now. And so I like to have just scratch paper that I can write on it. This is a 3x3 or whatever, and hold it in place. But I didn't get those out. And if I add any more paper to my desk, I'm probably going to confuse myself. So I'm just going to hold on to this one right now. But let's go ahead and adhere these together. So remember, as we go to put the white on the black, we're going to center it between these two sides and the top, and we're going to bring it all the way to the bottom. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Now we're going to bring this black one in here, and it's going to be taller than wider. And we're going to do the same thing for the white, except opposite. All right, and we're just going to, I like to bring it in right beside it because I want to know that it's nice and lined up. That when I go to lay it down, all the pieces are going to be lined up like I need them to be, just like that. And again, we're not going to see this piece here. So right now it may look a little funky, but I promise it won't for long. All right. So I've just got this right here. I'm kind of centering it. This is going to help you too to know how far up or down to go with your paper when you go to put this placement there. So that's why I want that to kind of be done and be our guide for knowing how tall or how close to the edges we need to be. So what you see right here, that is going to be your margin for how tall on each side you're going to have this DSP. All right, so do you see that? I was able to carry it. I've got that same amount in between and right here. So that should help you as well. So let's go ahead, since we laid it down, we know we have these pieces down. I'm going to go ahead and put this down first. Since I'm using the black as a guide, making sure my black doesn't move as well, like it just did. But that's going to help me know. All right, now I'm going to use this as a guide for my sides and my top. Now that I've got that one down, now I can put my black down. Because I'm going to know how far over to the left to put the black, like how far I'm going to have to move this way, but I'm going to know where at the top it's going to need to be. Does that make sense? So it's literally, it's like 1/8 of an inch. It's not big at all. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing here at the bottom. We're just going to attach it like we talked about a second ago. This is a great way to see how to merge smaller pieces of paper if you don't have the long strip that you want to create with. If you don't have that, this is a great way to see, okay, this is what I can do to make this work, right? I'm going to see if I can back out just a little bit. I don't know if it's going to let me or not. There we go, so that you can see more of this. So I apologize for moving that and that you can see my messy desk right now, but keeping it real. All right, here we go. Same thing. Now I can tell that that was a little wonky because I'm not able to get that same measurement there. So pull that up just a little bit. You guys have learned from me that I am never, ever, ever going to be able to put a piece down flat and it stay there, right? I don't know what it is about me, but I just have such a hard time lining things up sometimes that's why it's important I can use something adhesive that has a little bit of time restraint. All right, so since that's not lining up, that tells me that it may not be straight down. So I'm just going to pull that up again and try and adjust it just a little bit. There we go. Now I'm straight. Again, I'm going to be able to cover that up. That's not going to be an issue. All right, now we're going to put this piece down here. Same thing. I'm putting just a little bit of a gap, same amount below and to the side, from one piece and then the other. Now in this area, I have 2 3x3s that are going to come together and touch each other. And then, so you're going to have the same wrap around there, and then a 4x6 on this side that's going to kind of go out further, okay? That's what we're looking for. And hopefully we have been asking and asking and asking for Stampin' Up! To be able to get some photo placeholders. And so I have to believe they're creating them for the workshop kits, that they're going to have them so that we can purchase them soon. And once they do, I will have them back in our kits because I know that they're very helpful. But in the meantime, using some scraps is a big help, right? All right, so then what we're going to do here is we want to go and we want to take 2 of our little hearts. Now, you're probably wondering, why, when we did our hearts, did we not use the double-sided adhesive tape or adhesive sheets like we did for Friend? But if we had done that, then when you go to put your pictures down, any place that overlaps, it's going to be on your picture and you're going to have a hard time putting your picture there, okay? So that's why I did not do it like that. I wanted to make sure that, that I was able to get my heart in there and it wasn't going to be an issue. All right, so what we're looking for is we're looking for a petunia pop heart, and we're looking for a summer splash, I think is what it is there. And you can kind of play with these, see how you want them to overlap a little bit. You want to be able to see what they are. And we're going to be bringing them here and putting them more things here. I am not going to put adhesive on the back of my tops of my hearts. Again, that way I can get my photos up underneath. But the way I'm going to hold them down is by the element that is going to be right here, okay? That's going to allow me a little bit of a look of a 3D for just a little while. And then that way, if I want to go back later, I can feel free to do it. But I really like, without always having to put the 3D foam tapes like that, I like that it just has a natural pop off. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for there. And then we're going to get our white Friend with the black lettering that we've already put together. We're going to get that. We're going to get one of our long Summer Splash leaf sets. So I'm going to get this one. I've still got some that are in there, so I'm going to pull those out real quick. If you wanted to leave some in there, you could. That's just a total preference thing. Up to you, but I'm poking mine out. And I think after tonight's workshop, you're going to see I definitely need to get a new mat because it's not popping them all out, and it's usually really good at that. So I've got my scissors, and I'm just cutting some of the little edges that did not come undone. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm literally just going to lay this out so that you can see what I'm going to do before I do anything else. All right, now, here's the thing with this. We want to be able to, let me bring in my original so you can see it. We want to be able to put 2 little photos here. So when I go to lay this down, again, same thing. I want to make sure my photos can get up underneath there and I don't have adhesive so that I can't put my photos there, right? But at the same point in time, I've got to keep my hearts down. I've got to keep all that together. So what we want to do is we want to lay this out first. Now I'm going to bring in, this is my Shy Shamrock. I'm bringing in a Shy Shamrock, a small leaf set, and I am going to bring in my black ink and the stamp set that coordinates with that and give it a little bit of pop. Just by doing that, even though I don't have to, but just by doing that, it's going to help the black that's here pop, but not be like, not take over the page. Obviously, we don't want it to take over the page, but it's going to give me just a little bit of a extra pop is really the only word I can think of. All right, so remove this, bring this in. All right, and I'm going to try and line this best up as I can. It's so hard to see it. All right, without getting my head right up underneath the camera. And we're going to do that in a couple more too, so I'm not going to put this completely away yet. All right, so I've got this coming out. This is going to kind of come out from underneath here. And then I've got that coming out from underneath here. And then I'm going to take 2 of my flowers. And I'm going to take the peach pie. And I'm going to take the pretty in pink. And I'm going to put those kind of here as well. So, but Friend is going to be on top of everything. All right, so there we go. This is the look we're going for, but again, we want to be able to put 2 little photo mats underneath there. So what I'm going to do is, this is how I do it, okay? This is my cheating method, but this is how I do it. It's up to you if you like this idea or not. I'm going to take, knowing what I've got here, I'm going to lift up my friend, okay? I'm going to put adhesive, and I'm using liquid adhesive only because I might need to move this one a little bit, but I'm putting a lot on here. Okay, not a lot, but still a lot. And I'm putting this down, but I only put adhesive on the up to here. I think that's where you kind of saw it. That way where it went over, I can still put my photo. It's not going to hurt my photo at all. And I don't have so much going into my photo that it's going to really block my photo. That's the goal. In fact, I might actually even want to bring it down a little bit so it's more towards the bottom of it. But as you can see, it's holding down my heart, right? Now I'm going to pick that one up. I'm going to do the same thing here on this one. And I'm just going to do it at the bottom. Just a little bit at the bottom. Again, I'm going to bring this in here. And I'm going to have it curve again so it's going down, not up into the flower or into where I'm going to have my picture, but down. That's what you want to think about, is where your picture is going to be. If it's going to overlap your photos, you want to make sure that you're not going to, like, when you go to put your photos down there, not be frustrated that you've got this element and it's taking up half of your photo, right? Especially if you're using a 3x3. So as you can see here with my 3x3, I put my smaller leaf here to make sure that it did not, and I put it like right at the bottom corner to make sure that it didn't take up much of the photo. Here I'm going to have a 4x6 photo, and so I've just got it all kind of going down into this bottom space. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. Now what I can do is I can tuck my 2x2s right here, and I'm going to put my adhesive on the bottom, just the bottom part of my flower, and put my flower right here. So I can still tuck in my 2x2. I'm going to do the same thing, but this one I can do everywhere, basically, because this is going to go down further into my page, and I'm just going to kind of do it off center. Like, so it's kind of falling down. Now I've got friend. Now my friend, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm only going to put adhesive on that bottom part. That way, when I go to put my photo down, I have no problem, okay? So just the bottom, but enough that it's going to give it a grab. So I'm just going to put this down. I did not put it here because that could go on top of my photo. And I'm going to put it further down so it's kind of overlapping just like that. Okay? So that's down, but I still have this area. If you look, I still have this area that I can stick down a photo just like that, right? Do you see that? I can still get my photos up underneath that. So this is a bigger piece than what I need, but I'm just trying to show you how you can still get things up underneath, okay? And the hearts are tacked down. They're not going to move. They are tacked down there. So they're still popping up here. And as I get my photos down, or if I wanted to, I could tack them down right here in the center, and that would be absolutely fine. Just if you do that, 2 things to consider, okay? If you put a little bit of adhesive here, you're going to want to put something hard, flat on it just to hold it down, because you've got a big amount of it that's not. And you want to be careful too, because sometimes it comes out and then you see some of that, like it's the extra adhesive squeezes out and you end up seeing it on your layout. So just be careful with that. The other thing is, if you have a block like this one that's dirty, I've washed this thing several times, but it's stained dirty. But every once in a while, I'll go to use it as a block that puts on, and somehow some of the ink transfers. So be careful about that too. Just make sure that you use a clean block, that you're, holding it down however you're doing that you don't use too much adhesive. But I honestly feel like this is fine. And then again, if I wanted to, I could put just a little bit of adhesive there and that would hold it down. All right, so what we're gonna need to do to finish that part off is we wanna go ahead and get out our gems. If I can find mine, or dots. And we're gonna put down our, and I may have move mine out of the way to the point where I do not see them. Forgive me. But we're going to go ahead and put one of the peach pie in the center, and then also one of the pretty in pink there in the center. And we want to do that so that, and you can do one, you know, big or small or whatever, but that's going to kind of give it a little pop there. And I have set mine to the side somewhere, so hopefully I'll find them before we're done. But if not, I'll go back and add them on. All right. All right. Then what we're going to do, and I also sent you some white dots. So you should be able to take just, I have my white dots right here, but just take, oh, that one went flying. So let's take one here and a bigger one here. And again, what I'm trying to do is I'm filling this space that doesn't have anything. So we did it with our splatters, and then I'm bringing the white over here from our background. So that's going to give it just kind of pull that, you know, all together in that same direction so that you can see all the pieces. That's really what we're aiming for there. All right, and so that is going to be our left side. And then we're going to go to our right side. So grab your other page. This time the splatters are going to be on your right side. It's bothering me that I can't see the dots because I know that they are right here. All right. And then we're going to do the exact same thing that we did before. So before we move on, we just want to get our little pieces kind of set up that we know that they're all going to be a different color and a different design, right? And I'm not trying to put it down perfectly right now. Right now, I'm just trying to put it down so that I know that I have different designs. And I'm going to bring in the first page too so that I can make sure that the designs that I put here are not the same designs on this side as the first page, that they're not going to be right beside each other. So let's check that. The colors and the designs. So in this regard, that is the same. So let me see if I can change that. What's on the back of this? That's the floral. I could do the floral, but I've got floral here. Do I want that floral, or do I want, that'll be perfect. So no more stripes. I've got stripe here, but my floral's here. I've got floral there. I could even do it like that. So the florals are floral on the first page is over in this corner. And then I've got a floral up here and another floral here. And I think I like that. That kind of starts it and ends it, right? All right, and the same thing here. It starts here on the bottom with a petunia pop, and it ends on the top with a petunia pop. So those are kinds of the things I look for as I'm creating, like how can I readjust? I want all my colors to be different if they're next to each other like that with different patterns. And then I want to be able to put... you know, that like have it kind of flow across the page. And then here we've got our 3x3. And again, this could be another 4x6 if I wanted, or a 3x6 where I just kind of cut it down. And I'm going to put them flat together, and then 2 4x6s. So we're not going to have to worry about that today. What we need to worry about is doing these little pieces at the bottom. So we're going to do the same thing that we did before. Hopefully you have kind of a guide in your mind from what we did with the black as far as how much, that 1/8 of an inch on each side. And if you do have your guide cardstock or photos that you can pull in to help, feel free to do that. Okay. And I want to make sure that what I did on the bottom is what I do on the top as far as how far over I go. Because if it's not even, that will show when I go to put my photo down, right? So I'm going to bring in a ruler and just check before I press it down that it's the same. And then since we know that I can never put anything on straight, having the ruler here is going to help with that too, right? Yep, it's okay. Laugh at me because I laugh at myself about it too. All right. Here's this, same thing. We're just kind of bringing it down. Okay. And before I do that, I'm just going to bring this one in too, make sure I've got everything lined up. The other one, we had the guide of the black. This one, we did not have the guide of the black. So I want to make sure that, and that's perfect, shockingly. And then we've got this. I do love a T-square ruler just because I need as much guidance as I possibly can, right? All right. And for me, what I love about these rulers is they have the multiple lines. And so I know I'm just going over one of the squares. That's going to be my measurement from the bottom and from the sides. I'm going to lay that down. And now I've got this one to do it as well. All right. Again, I need all the guidance I could get. So that actually looks different. So I want to make sure something didn't move, but it does look closer on one side. Yeah, that did move. See, you know you're going to see me pick things up and adjust them. I can't help myself. All right. So there we go. All right, so now what we're gonna do in this top corner, we're gonna go ahead and grab our peach pie and we're gonna get the heart again. This one looks like it's stuck just a little bit at the very top. I guess today's a good plug for making sure you have flat plates for your machines, because if not, it can make it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. All right, so for this one, we're putting it up here in this corner, and I want it to, of course, all fit within the 12 by 12. I want it to be here, and I'm gonna bring it together here at the bottom, and I have a 2 by 2 square on top of it. So before I do anything, I'm gonna go ahead and lay everything out like we did before. This time, what we're gonna have is we're gonna have the Shy Shamrock. We're gonna have the long green instead of the small green. I'm going to pop out all of the leaves again. Let's see. So let's see. I'm not going to worry so much about that bottom one that's not wanting to come out, because that one, I don't know if you can see it, but that I'm getting this bigger one. Whoops, this bigger one, but that bottom one, I'm probably not going to see it. I'm probably going to end up it's going to be covered, so I'm not going to worry so much about it. But those, again, if I had a flatter plate, it would not have been an issue. All right, so I'm going to put this here, and I really just want this to kind of cross over. It's going to draw all of that together. It's going to be just fine. And then I'm going to bring in my my petunia pop, and then a pumpkin pie. Now, the petunia pop, same thing, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in my liquid adhesive. Oh, and I'm sorry, one more. We need our small summer splash. Right here, leaf. And we want to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and ink that up and stamp it with with the black. And while we've got it out, let's go ahead and do the other small green as well. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do both of those just so that they're ready for us while we have it all out. All right, so just gonna, oh, I hope I did that right. It's hard to see when I'm looking over like this. That one I think is off a little bit, but it should still work, yeah. All right. I'll hide how much off that one is as I'm creating. All right, so now we're gonna take the Summer Splash, we're gonna pop this one up over here, put this right on top. So let's do one and then the other. So I'm not doing anything to my heart. I'm not holding my heart down at all. I could, but again, I'm just kind of watching it, making sure that it's all the other elements basically are gonna hold it down. So I'm gonna put this down. I've got adhesive going up into here, and I'm gonna put this down right here, and that's gonna help hold my heart down. Then I'm gonna take this one, same thing. Now you can do the whole one, but again, it kind of all works together when you don't do off to the tops because your heart's kind of floating up. So it's nice when your leaf kind of floats up, right? But again, you do want to have enough that's holding pieces down. So I've got all of that and it's holding that side down. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flower, and on my flower, I'm only going to put adhesive on the right side. I'm so sorry about the dogs in the background. All right, so I'm only going to put adhesive on that side, and I'm not going to put any on the bottom because I'm going to have a photo right here. So I want my photo to tuck in from up top, right here like that, and I want a photo from the bottom like that. So I'm just kind of putting it here, and I'm going to do the same thing with this pumpkin pie, or I'm sorry, peach pie. I'm going to put it right beside it, going onto this piece of paper and up underneath like that. So see how I'm able to get that down? And that shows you just this is exactly where it's going to be, my 3x3. I have a 3x3. Actually, my 3x3 is going to be over here, so I'm going to have a full 4x6. But you can see that's going to easily fit up underneath there, no problem, right? And then I'm going to have a 2x2 photo that's going to be tucked up, and that's going to hold this side down. So because I don't have my 2x2 photo and I don't have anything to hold it down, I am going to put just a little dot there. I'm going to kind of push this down just like that, and that's going to help hold it down. Just like that. All right, and that's it. So that top one is done, and then now what we're going to do is on the bottom, we're going to take our Pretty in Pink heart. Okay. Now on this Pretty in Pink heart, well, that was the change too. When I changed those pieces, my Pretty in Pink kind of got changed up as well. So I might change that. Let me look and see if I want to change that. I might leave that. I think that'll be fine, honestly. I've got lots of other hearts. If you have other hearts that you want to use, feel free. I only have other hearts because I've cut out so many other hearts, but you may not, and so don't feel like, you know, you have to adjust things. I'm going to leave it just like that because, again, why not? But I do think, yeah, let's just leave that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. We're going to bring in some more greens and stuff, so that's going to help that one pop up off the page. And then we're also going to put a 2x2 right there. So I'm going to make most of the heart kind of pop up and over instead of being so low. Again, that will be the separation from that paper. And then I'm going to bring in another summer. I keep feeling like I'm saying that wrong. Let me look real quick. Summer Splash. There we go. I'm bringing in a large Summer Splash in this small green, and we're going to overlay those just like that. Then we're going to have a 2x2 photo there and our flowers. So let's go ahead and lay those down. And again, just push it up enough that all your leaves and everything are going to stay on the page. Okay. Then we've got this going here. Now I'm going to bring in Petunia Pop and a Pretty in Pink, and we're going to add these two. Now on this, I'm going to put them on the adhesive on the right side. And I'm going to put this right here, like just at the base of those. So it's going to cover up my not great stamping there, but it's also going to give it a place to hold down more of my heart. And I'm going to be able to get my photo up underneath there. This one shouldn't be such an issue because it's so low, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm still going to put it just on that side and be good with it. And I'm going to move it over again just so that it's off the paper and it kind of pulls in the green. So just like that. And then again, this is not a 2x2, but I'm trying to show you how that's going to work. So you're going to take a 2x2 and put it right there, okay? And so it's going to just be at an angle like that up to your page, and you've got an area for a 4x6, a 4x6, and two 3x3s here. So you'll have another little 2x2 and a 2x2. And I don't do a lot of, obviously, 2x2s. To me, you know, it's almost like, what's the point? It's taking a large picture and shrinking it down. I don't take a large picture and shrink it down. I usually take a picture that has an element in it, and I just kind of crop it away, the element that I want, and that becomes my 2x2. So think about that, you know, if you and friends go and you make this layout about you guys going and getting ice cream or something like that. Maybe you would put an ice cream cone there when it was you two sitting there and showing your ice cream cones. Your ice cream cone is what you're going to show there. If you're getting your nails done, you're showing somebody's hand or the paint colors or something, you know, but it's just going to be a small element of the picture and not the whole picture shrunk down to a 2x2. All right, and then from there, what you're going to do is you're just going to take your gems and you're going to match the gems that you have with the colors that are here. And I so wish I could do that with you, but I'm not seeing mine. I'm sure as soon as I turn the camera off, I'm going to find them, but I have not yet. So there is that. I even showed them to you at the beginning. But, yeah, no. That's all right, so then we're going to take the white ones and that I sent. We're going to put just a couple down here. And a couple up at the top. Again, this is just going to kind of fill in that space and make that shine. All right. And that's it for our layouts. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you had fun doing the layouts. It is so late. I am going to keep our cards for another night just because I want us to be able to put time into our cards. They won't take long. We've already done most of the bulk of what we needed to do for them, but I want us to take our time and have fun with it and not feel rushed. And I don't want to wear you guys out too much tonight either. So anyway, there you go. I will be on in the next night or so to finish that up for you. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. And have a great night. I'll talk with y'all later. Happy scrapping, guys. Bye-bye.